Hey everyone, welcome to Conversations of the Heart with Janine Johnson. So today is Mother's Day, and I'd be remiss if I didn't pause and take a moment to honor all of you amazing, brave, caring, loving, kind, selfless women out there, and just said Happy Mother's Day to you. I hope today is full of joy, full of love, full of care, full of laughter, full of good eating, of course. But I hope you all enjoy your day today. Today is a very special day because this is one day out of the year, not the only time that you should be honored, but this is one day out of the year that's designated as a special day to take a moment to just pat you on the back for a job well done. Being a mom is not always easy. And, to be able to take a moment to honor you, I think is such an amazing privilege. So that's definitely what I wanted to do today, was just take a moment and say thank you. Take a moment to honor you. Take a moment to appreciate you, mothers out there who have been the doctor, who have been the nurse, who have been the counselor, who have been the confidant, who has been the chauffeur, who has been up late at night praying, covering their children. All of the hats that you wear have not gone unnoticed. So I want to say thank you. I want to say Happy Mother's Day. I want to say enjoy your day. It's your day to do whatever it is that makes your heart smile, that makes you happy. I know for me today, all I want to do is rest. That's it. That's all I want. I just want to rest. And for me, what rest looks like, it's me just lounging around the house, not having to go anywhere if I don't desire, not having to do much of anything that I have no desire to do. It's me doing yard work, which has become one of my favorite things to do, and it's become very therapeutic to me. But it's just me enjoying time, just resting and just relaxing. And that's really what I wanted today. But it's not really about me right now. It's about all of you amazing moms out there. Although I am a mom, I want to take a moment to acknowledge, admonish, and honor some of the women in my life that have helped me throughout my years, as from a child to an adult, as I've evolved over the years, and are still helping me as I evolve over the years. Two of the women that I would definitely want to honor are both my mom and my granny. My mother, Jeanette, my granny, Joyce. Yes, all of our names starts with a J, just in case you caught that. But I think about my mom and I think about my granny, and I realized that I gleaned different things from the both of them. And I know that when I think about who I am, largely who I am comes from all of the countless hours, all of the nights that they poured into me, all of the days that I just sat and gleaned from them, whether it was my granny in the kitchen cooking, because, back then everything was made from scratch. So if she wanted to make some collard greens, it wasn't as easy as going to the produce department and buying a bag of already pre-cleaned, pre-cut collard greens. So I remember, I could just sit back and think about how I would be there with her if she was cutting up the collard greens, and, she showed me, take the time so patiently to show me how to cut up the collard greens and how to clean them. And, I would be there with her doing that, or shucking peas, or whatever the case may be. Like, I remember being there watching her along the way. And then also, with my granny as well, I think my fashion passion or my passion for fashion, I believe wholeheartedly that it came from her. I remember, growing up, my granny would sew everything. All of her outfits, whether it was her church clothes or her regular clothes, she sewed it all. She even made some really cool hats to wear to church. And then not only did she do that, but when I think about myself and my two older siblings and my cousin, we always had outfits sewn for us, whether it was for Christmas or whether it was for Easter. My granny always made sure that we had outfits. Now, we probably looked like Destiny's Child. We had the same fabric, the same print, but we all had a different variation of a style or an outfit. So I may have had the skirt, my sister may have had the shorts, my brother may have had the print on his shirt and some really cool shorts, and then my cousin may have had the print on his shorts and a really cool shirt. But we all had the same fabric and we all had the same print. But I remember that just, like it was yesterday, we would have those times with my grandmother where she would just sew everything, and seeing her behind that sewing machine and with those patterns. And I know I learned how to sew from her. Just watching her do it and her being so passionate about it was always one of the things that I really loved about her. I learned how to crochet from her as well. So even just the other day, I was actually crocheting and I was sitting there. I was sick with COVID and I was in the house and I was like, I've got to do something. And sure enough, I picked up my crochet needle and picked up some rolls of yarn and started sewing some dish towels for my kitchen. But I had to sit there and laugh because I was like, wow, I remember just like yesterday, the day my granny taught me how to sew. So she was very creative in that sense that I gleaned from her with the sewing and the creating. But when I think about creativity as well, like I do attribute my creativity from my mom as well too. My ability to be able to create from my mom, because I think about like even my desire for like beauty and cosmetics and all of that stuff. Like I always watched my mom coming up. She went to school for cosmetology, and like I always watched her, and I always like had some different funky hairstyle. I always tried stuff. And when I would venture out, it was always, most of the time, it was with my hair. I remember taking the weave, the tracks of weave, and wrapping it with the rollers, hair rollers, and putting it in the microwave and thinking, ooh, I don't want to look like everybody else, so I'm going to try it this way. Or doing the waterfall hairstyle back then with all of the spritz and the flat iron and stuff. But I always got that from her. I even think about, even to this day, like all of the different lipstick colors that I wear and the way that I venture out in my with my makeup and stuff. I remember being a child, and even as I'm sitting here, I remember being about maybe 7 years old, and I would watch my mom get dressed, and she would have some cool hairstyle, and I remember seeing her putting on her lipsticks and stuff, and as I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm having this epiphany that, I saw her wear her red lipstick. And that's one of my favorite colors to wear. And I probably have about 5 or 6 variations of red, maybe a little bit more lipstick. But I remember just sitting watching her as she would get dressed and putting on her makeup and everything. And so I think that's I know that's where I got that from. But aside from that, like even with my mom being domesticated around the house, learning how to keep a house at a very young age, I was made to clean. We were made to clean, not just me. We were made to clean. And I'm appreciative of that today. OMG. As I became an adult, it was never an issue for me to be able to keep a house. I understood how to keep things, how to take care of things. I think that was another thing that I learned from my mom, is not just getting things, but taking care of things. The things that you do have. You may not always have the best, but take very good care of what you do have, and it'll last. And as I look around my house, even now, I'm like, man, I've had that for so many years. But I learned that from my mom, how to keep a house clean, how to take care of a house, and how to take care of the things that you do have, so that you don't have to worry about being without, because you've taken good care and you've been responsible with what you do have. So I have to pause, and I just have to tell my mom, Jeanette, and my granny Joyce, thank you. Thank you for pouring into me. Thank you for being very intentional with how you poured into me. Thank you for always being able to step aside or to pause for a moment if I had a question about anything. You are able to pause and be able to answer that question for me, or to help me to better understand how to deal with a situation or a circumstance or whatever. But I just have to pause and honor them and say thank you. Thank you for just the way that you've loved me along the way that you've cared for me along the way, and also seeing that reciprocated now as I am a mom, and the way the two of you have poured into Caleb. I sit back and I smile sometimes, because I'm like, man, this is a privilege and an honor that not everyone has the opportunity to have in this moment. From birth, Caleb has always had my grandmother, who lived with me at the time when he was born. And so he was cared for. He didn't have to go to a daycare right away, because I had my granny and my mother there to help me to raise him. When I had to work, he was with them. So I always knew he was safe. So I just want to thank them. And then when I think about shifting just a little bit, thinking about other women that have been instrumental in my life, I can't help but to think about my spiritual mother. Her name is Sandy, and I have to honor her as well, because I think about 15-year-old Janine, who met her, who was so insecure, who didn't know a lot. And she really took the time to take me under her wings, to teach me life skills that were necessary, to sit and talk to me about things that I needed to know about. I didn't know that I needed to know about, but also to introduce me to a different perspective and a relationship with God. She has a way of speaking to the destiny, allowing me to realize what my purpose and destiny is. Like, she helped me to do that, but then also to be able to speak to that woman inside of me that I may not in that moment be showing up as, but she knows how to draw it out of me. And I'm super grateful for her. Over the years, our relationship has evolved, because I was a teenager when I first met her, and now here I am, almost 40. And I'm so grateful to still have her along the way, because although our relationship has evolved, it's turned into something so beautiful where, I now have the ability to be able to see how she's shown up for me in ways that I could never have asked for, but she's shown up and she's been